here's one that we got from Dean from Taiwan. He says, on Oahu, how safe is Makaha Valley Towers for senior retired couples to buy and live at, where we are U.S. citizens? So, Makaha is a beautiful, beautiful part of the island. How would you respond to Dean? And by the way, folks, is there anyone, any of you looking to retire on Oahu? What have you considered? What have you if you looked around, share with us what you found, throw it in the comments, or otherwise. Frankly, if you're, let's go statewide. If you're looking for retirement, if you have retired, if you're in the retirement things, what areas have you found that are of interest? I'd like to get the feedback, and I'd like to share it with everybody else. So pop it in. Scott, what's your take on Dean's question?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people you live in the community and you buy the house that is in that community, and the community choice comes first. If you don't like the community, you're not going to be happy with where you are. And that's probably the main thing with that, Leeward Coast, Makaha areas, is to get out into that community and see if you like it, see if it's acceptable. I've spent a lot of time up there. I used to go up there and stay at Makaha Beach Cabanas right on the ocean. And it was just, I'd spend the weekend. I'd be so relaxed when I came back. It was just an amazing experience. And I would go to the grocery stores and I would go to the checkout line, and the lady would say, "Hey, how you doing today?" I'm like, "Good, how are you?" And we'd engage in conversation. And you don't get that in urban core Honolulu as much, because everyone's much more, faster paced moving. We got to get from A to B. We're dealing with traffic more. So that Leeward Coast is more that country setting, which is the same kind of feeling or sense that you get on the outer islands. So to me, there's a little more semblance of community and friendliness, because the pace of life out there is slower, but there are drawbacks. There's some socioeconomic components that come with that area. It's a much more local area. So does that fit for you as well? As far as Makaha Valley Towers, it's a great building. Love that building. There's Makaha Valley Towers, which is the only tower that's in that area. And you look out across the valley and the golf course to the ocean. It's beautiful. Makaha Valley Plantation would be the other one, which is a gated townhouse community within there. So those two would be totally safe. And then the question is does the community fit for you?
Excellent. And it's so cool, Scott. Thanks, Scott. That is a great a summary of Makaha, and I think it's really helpful that you had a personal experience that you had to share. What I'm kind of stoked about is that Michelle Cook is like, yeah, hey, boom, great. I've got 2 units. I've got 2 units there. So thanks, Michelle. I'm so glad that you're here today. This is like perfect. So everybody, Michelle's there. There you go. She's got 2 units there, beautiful and safe, gated community, and agrees. The locals are super friendly, great community, horrible traffic. Now that is a really good, yeah. If you've got a commute in, oh my God, just forget it. Commute in meaning if you have to come from Makaha and then say you have a job, if you have a job in what we call downtown Honolulu, if you had to commute in, that would just be, you would not want to be living through that. You would not want to be.
Yeah, heaven forbid there's a wreck, because you might as well just, at that, if it closes off the road, turn around, go home, and just call it a day, call in sick. If I was in the military and I was working at like Schofield, I'd seriously consider living along that coastal area, because you can take that mountain pass road through, and then you have your beach community lifestyle, and it's not that hard to get there.
Yeah, or hopefully these days, if you can be a remote worker where you don't have to commute anywhere, then you're in really good shape. Heather is agreeing with you. Best advice, Scott. That totally worked for me. Thanks to you. So thank you. Excellent, Heather. To look for the right community first. Look for the community first, then focus on the homes within the community. Also finding temporary housing while looking. Thank you, Heather, for chiming in. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, Heather's a perfect example. We saw some homes that we liked in a different area, and we went and checked it out. And after a couple of days, we did a right turn and focused, more in the community that she's going to end up being in. It's a matter of getting here. You can do all your research online that you want, and you can formulate your opinions. And then when you land and you touch and feel, those opinions are going to change, whether they change drastically or reinforce what you were thinking, but they will change some. And it's when you get here and you look and feel or touch and feel, and you get out in the community, that you really are able to formulate what's important to you at that time.
Yeah, great advice. And because of all of our discussions and all the things that we've learned, I put together an entire series on the YouTube channel about picking the right place. And district is a huge thing. And we had an Islander Ohana alumni discussion, as I mentioned earlier, a few weeks ago, and one of our alums, she bought a home in Maui, and she was just saying that they just got lucky because they didn't go through this sort of intensive process, right? They didn't go through this intensive process that kind of Heather went through with you to find the right place and all that kind of stuff. And she said, "Look, I would, if I had to do it again, I would definitely be really clear as the district that we're going to want." She goes, "We got super super lucky, but that was the big takeaway. Pick the
It's
community first." That's great advice, Scott. Go ahead.
blind squirrels find acorns every once in a while.
Even a broken clock is correct twice a day, right? I guess the old Mark is chiming in. Mark, an alumni of the Islander Ohana. Diddle that. Scott helped us. There it is, man. Look, gang. Hey, just let me finish Mark's comment first. Scott helped us find the right community. Mililani is perfect for us, and working remotely here works well for me. And actually, I don't know if this was by design or not, Scott and Mark, but Mililani is network wise is very close to a major network hub. The cable provider Spectrum is headquartered in Mililani, and they got a big data center in Mililani. So, Mark, I think Mililani is one of the actually that area has got some of the highest connectivity. Now, think, your mileage will vary based on your building and things of that nature. But Mark, I'm kind of curious how your net connection there has been. I'm sure it's got to be good because you're a remote worker. But that's another benefit of that area. But I kind of wanted to say again. Now you saw two comments from Heather, and one from Heather, and one from Mark, and Jessica's here too. And I know that Jessica gushes about Scott. Scott's the man. And then I've known Scott for, I think we're going on 20 years now, Scott, at least close to it. And I was really glad that things worked out when we kind of had these crazy ideas to kind of do the show every other week. That you've been a part of it. And